Hey everyone, in this video we are going over 2.4, which is function transformations. And before we get started, I want to point out a few different types of functions that are common, ones that you will be working with more later on this year and maybe in your higher level math classes. But there's just three that I just quickly want you to be able to recognize. The first one is f of x equals x squared, and that is a quadratic function, and the graph has a U shape. It looks like that. The next one, f of x equals the absolute value of x. So that is an absolute value function. And that graph has a V shape. It looks like that. And the third one, f of x equals the square root of x. No, it does not have a W shape. That would be funny. But it's kind of like the parabola in the first one, turned sideways, and only half of it. So that's what those look like. Whenever we're talking about a quadratic or absolute value or square root, you just kind of need to be able to picture the graph in your mind. Have some sort of idea what it looks like. Not necessarily for this specific lesson, but in the future, it's good to have an idea of those. So we're going to talk about translations, and a translation just moves a figure. And we can tell if I look back at these functions that I showed you in the beginning, those are called parent functions. And so just plain x squared, just plain square, absolute value, and just plain square root of x. When I start adding and subtracting numbers in those functions, that's when it starts translating. So I'm going to give you a description, and as we do some examples, it will make more sense. So the first one is when I'm adding inside. So notice I'm doing a plus something, and it's inside of the parentheses. So when you have square root, when you have a quadratic, when you've squared, you'll have like something plus something in parentheses squared. That means that we are moving left. So if I have x plus 4 squared, that means I'm moving left 4. If we subtract inside, that means we are moving right. So I'm subtracting inside of the parentheses, or inside of the square root, or inside of the absolute value bar. That moves either left or right. So adding is left, subtracting is right. That's actually opposite of what you would think. Most people think, oh, if I'm doing plus, I'm adding, I move right. But it's opposite. However, notice the next two, what I'm adding and subtracting is outside of the parentheses. So if I add outside, that one moves up. So the left and the right is opposite what you would think. The up and the down is not opposite. So if I subtract outside, it moves down. So we're going to do some examples. Number 1, the only thing that I'm adding or subtracting is I'm adding a 2, and it's inside the parentheses. So plus 2 inside means I'm moving left 2. Number 2, I am subtracting 1 inside, adding 3 outside. So let's look at the -1 first. When I subtract inside, that moves right, and it's right 1. And then I also have the +3 outside, so that moves up 3. Number 3, let's look inside first. So inside is a subtraction. So when I'm subtracting on the inside, that moves right 3. And I'm subtracting on the outside, that moves down 7. So I want you to try a few examples here. There's 6, and don't worry about the graphing. You don't have to do any of that. I just want you to do the same thing we did for questions 1, 2, and 3. So pause the video and do those, and then you can play the video and check your answers. All right, number 1, that one moves down 1. 2, right 2, down 1. Number 3, left 3, down 1. Goodness, we had a lot of down 1s. Number 4, right 2. Number 5, this one's a little harder. Notice that -4 is on the outside, so it moves down 4. And number 6.
Teachers, at this time, please check an email from Mr. Bussell. Thank you.
Guess you heard that. Check an email. Left 3, down 4. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, have a great day.